moving on to the next one that we have over here. Disney has a new movie, and it is the prequel to every movie that they've ever made. Wish comes from one of the directors who did Frozen, but it is written by not just the director-writer of Frozen. Like, it is the Dawn. The woman who is running everything over at Disney right now, Jennifer Lee. I think she's the, what is it, COO? She's the big boss at this point. She has been talking about making a movie like this for the longest time that is pretty much the origin story to the star that everybody wishes upon. The intro that we see in every single Disney movie that goes right over the castle. This is supposed to be that story told from the perspective of a character named Magnifico, played by, I thought pretty well, Chris Pine, who finds the magic to be able to make wishes come true. So he creates this town called Rosas, where people move in and they immigrate and they settle, and he takes your wish, but he gets to decide, is your wish worthy? Is it going to be good for the country? You don't even remember what your wish is once you give it to him. And it isn't until this young girl who's about to turn, I think 18, and wants to be an apprentice, realizes that maybe this town isn't everything that people wished it would be. What do you think of Disney's new movie?
You know, unfortunately, I kind of feel like this is sort of every Disney movie got put into a blender until it sort of became tasteless. It's, you know, like Disney's version of Meal Fit for a King from Succession. It's just sort of kind of a bunch of elements of other better Disney movies kind of slapped together here. And part of it is in the way that the film is sort of layered with references to other Disney elements. Like, yes, this is an origin story for the Wishing Star, which I don't know if we ever really needed a story for the Wishing Star.
There's my bucket list.
But it's also, you know, full of these like shout outs to Peter Pan, and she's got 7 friends, and, you know, one of them is grumpy and another is sleepy. And it there's like a brief moment with Bambi, and it's like, I don't know, it just sort of feels a little bit too much like they're trying to play the hits and not doing their own original thing. Like, she's particularly the Ariana DeBose character, Asha, just sort of feels like devoid of a personality. She's just kind of like the insert role. And I don't know. I never really felt swept up in the magic. I never really felt taken away. I think it gets better as it goes along, particularly once they introduce some of the cuter characters and once they introduce the Wishing Star. But there's a whole like half hour of this movie that I think like most kids would probably find boring. It's pretty like, it's told pretty straight. There's a couple like not great songs in it. The second song in particular between Chris Pine and Ariana DeBose, where they're talking about like,
you like it?
Not at all, dude. It felt like something that was written for something else and then just thrown into this movie because they had a spot for it. I don't know. I was really kind of disappointed with how little there was to enjoy about Wish.
I think the story is fantastic. I think is an incredible. The story is a really good take on this idea of what happens when you give all of your wishes and your dreams and everything to a politician. And then realizing that you should be coming together as a community to be able to make your dreams come true, because these wishes are practically dreams. Damn, do I wish it was told better. That's the problem with it. There's so much in this story that is fantastic. And yeah, like you were saying, I don't want to say she's devoid of character, but there are moments where she's like, I'm feeling trauma, and I will run into the forest and turn into song. And I'm like, okay, that's kind of goofy. Yeah. I didn't think the music was terrible, but I don't think it's the most memorable. I see right now that they're mentioning Dollar Tree Lin-Manuel. There are moments where I was like, what is it with this staccato type of like announcing, singing the thing?
It is very much like listens to the Hamilton soundtrack once kind of vibes to me.
Yeah, and if you're going to do Lin-Manuel, just get Lin-Manuel. Yeah, I don't know, dude. I definitely think Encanto's a much better version of, this take of a community that's supposed to bond together.
So much fuller of character and personality than this one is.
But again, I do think it's a good story where everybody kind of forgets what their motivation is in life because they've kind of let somebody else figure it out for them. That's beautiful. But then, like you said, if it's not fully fleshed out characters, it's a bunch of these homages to other things, like Thumper appears at a certain point. You have bears from old classic movies. When he's dealing with like the dreams, he's shouting out other films, and you realize like, yo, this is really just a massive origin story. And having just covered not Catching Fire, the new Hunger Games movie,
Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, yeah.
That's a movie that's taking things that Katniss did, like The Bow, and now saying, actually, another character did it. Now, we knew that the song was passed down, but it's kind of like we're doing all these movies that are going, actually, this is the origin story
right.
of that. And like, I don't know how much of that is going to be profound. We always have these themes throughout the years where every single director was giving you, you know, their Belfast, their Fablemans about how they came to be. And now it feels like the franchises are doing that themselves. Here is how this came to be. Here is how Air came to be, BlackBerry, and even the
what
whole
can we
Disney
turn into
corporation.
intellectual property? Yeah.
And that's where I think it gets really interesting. Without getting into spoilers, I really do think that this is Disney trying to make their own form of like a Pixar theory where everything is connected. And you get to a point where we were reading up how, you know, the mouse is up at the end of 2023.
Okay, so I saw Jenny Nicholson theorize this on Twitter, and I guess you came to a similar conclusion that the Mickey Mouse copyright protection is apparently like set to expire very soon. In a couple months or in a couple years, something like that?
They were supposed to finish that in the 70s. They got another law. They were supposed to finish it in the 90s. They got lobbyists in there.
The only reason that some American copyright laws are as extended as they are is because of the lobbying of the Disney Corporation. So, so it's that it took this long is already Disney's fault. But yeah, Mickey is probably going to enter the public domain not too long from now. So Jenny Nicholson at least that part of the reason they wanted to turn that wishing star. Hold on, my mic is messing up. I don't know if you can still hear me.
I got you.
Part of the reason why Jenny Nicholson theorized that they wanted to turn the wishing star into a mascot is if they need to replace Mickey Mouse as kind of like the face of Disney.
That's crazy. Let me hit you with a bigger one. In the art book for it, every single emotion that the star does is based off of a Mickey Mouse emotion from the early drawings.
It's literally Mickey Mouse's face.
I don't know if that's a way to do a loophole for the copyright. So Wish really is just a movie that's trying to take advantage of that, trying to extend the copyright in some way. So, you know, at first the story's kind of like Shrek, where it's making fun of this guy who's picking dreams, which stories can be told, like Lord Farquaad. And then you have all these fairy tale beings that we know from all these other movies coming together to like defeat him. But it's like the inverse of the whole message, where they're not really doing it for originality. They're so unoriginal that it may actually be just doing it to extend that copyright, to be able to protect the patent. They don't realize that they didn't take down the villain in this movie. They're kind of just doing what the villain wanted in the film. Did you stay for the after credits?
I did stay for the after credits.
What did you think? Thumbs up, thumbs down?
I mean, it's on the scale of like, I'm glad I stayed versus why am I doing this with my life? It's definitely closer to the latter.
Isn't it crazy that the whole thing there was that that's supposed to be something that is based off of a wish that is supposed to change the world?
I don't know, man. Can we talk a little bit about the animation style in this movie? Because at least from stills and from like maybe quick trailer clips, you might think, oh, exciting, Disney's got a new hand-drawn animation movie out there. But the longer you look at it, the more you see the seams, because this is not hand-drawn animation. It is CG made to look like it's hand-drawn animation. And honestly, I found it to be pretty garish.
Bro, I know it's supposed to be like a storybook come to life, but like we just had the comic books come to life in Spider-Verse, and they did it impeccably.
Yeah.
This feels like those knockoff movies that you get at the dollar store that have this really weird animation where, again, like you're saying, it's 3D, but trying to look like 2D, trying to look like the books. All these movies that get made fun of in the animation bargain bin, this was somewhere in the middle where I didn't think that we could enter an uncanny valley for cartoons.
Right, but it somehow gets there. The movement is part of what is wrong. Like
That's
there's a weird depth to it.
Yes, if it's like still, it's good. But the moment they start moving,
exactly right. I want to compare it to Arcane, the Netflix show, which like Arcane has a specific art style that I guess works for Arcane, but like it's matching the movement of something like that with the hand drawn look of the classic Disney cartoons, and they never really looks right in motion.
Yeah, like I don't want to say it's bad, but it's weird, and maybe it's because
weird.
it's just something new that's been done. And I know there was a lot of talk from animators going, or they were very concerned about where it was going to fit in between the 3D rigs and with it being 2D. And yeah, it's somewhere in the middle. So I'm very curious to see how people take that, because the stills compared to like how Zach says when it's in motion, it's a little jarring.
Totally. And I was dissing the songs earlier, but "You're a Star" is a good song.
I'm about to say, bro, they're not terrible. I like a
They're
lot of the
not all
homages,
terrible.
you know.
Yeah.
That's one thing that we're breaking down, that we're gonna have over for Let Me Explain, is all the
Cool.
different homages that are in there. I mean, it's literally just filled with Easter eggs galore. Look at that candle right there. You know what that candle is. You already know it. Beauty and the Beast, Zach, of course. You see these blue balls
How
right
could
there?
I not? As the number one Disney adult.
Like, it really is that movie where whatever, it's almost clever. I hate how clever it is. Whatever you want it to be from your childhood, yeah, sure, it's that bear from that one movie. Sure, why not?
Totally.
That tree, yeah, why not? It is the most nostalgic baiting movie of all time, but I'm already ready to hear the backlash on where her character ends up in the movie, because I do think it's kind of like the funniest thing in the world. They did the MCU thing where it's like, oh, you thought the Infinity Stones? No, the Eternals, my man. There's always going to be something that precedes it. And Wish, I guess, as of now, until the next one, until whatever made the star, this is the thing that is pretty much the beginning of the Disney Cinematic Universe.
Yeah, we'll see. Do you think it's still worth seeing in theaters though, or is it more of a skip it?
I was able to take my whole family to go see it for the early screening. They all had a good time with it. I you know, if you can get cheap tickets on Thanksgiving weekend to go see it, yeah, it's not the worst thing out there. It's not going to be up there with the Frozens or even Encanto. I think it's a really good story. I just wish it was presented a little bit better. And for most people, yeah, once it's on Disney Plus, that's going to be the perfect way for most to watch it. But it is not the worst holiday movie to go see with the family, because you're not taking your little kids to go see Hunger Games.
Yeah, exactly. I honestly am a little bit. I would be a little bit concerned that some little kids would be bored by the first half hour, at least until like some of the cute characters start to show up.
Okay, I see what you mean.
Yeah. But like, yeah, once it gets going, I think it is kind of like fun for the whole family. Maybe mild fun for the whole family, because I got it at 2 stars out of 5 right now. But
Okay.
yeah, you know, it'll be on Disney Plus probably not too long from now.
You want to move there? To Rosas?
I mean, can I get my wishes granted?
Well, you got UBW. It's a Universal Basic Wishes. Let us know your thoughts on Disney's new Wish down below in the comment section, and which one you're looking forward to for everything they got on the slate. Or as it looks back at the 100 years, what your favorite Disney movie or character is.